Going live. Hey guys, how you doing? All right, so we've got John. Welcome, John. Sam. Welcome, Sam. Yeah, I know that feeling. You sit there, you're lighting your fire, and you think to yourself, I've just got a little bit of a spark going there. Let's start sorting that. And next thing, just as you're getting your kindling smouldering, you think, I've got to have a wee. But here we are. So this is Sunday Social. Let me just have a bit of a wriggle around here. Let's make this a little bit more. I think that's a bit better. I'm playing with the lighting. Wearing my non-sexual t-shirt tonight because, hey, that's me. I do like to relax a little bit. And, yeah. So, guys, welcome to my live stream. We've really officially, that's it, 1900 hours we're on and we're running. Sam's camping survival bushcraft, no signal my end. Right, it should be coming through any second, Sam. Basically, we're up. Basically, because I had a timer on it, which was allowing me to start at 1900, I take it's just allowed me to go. Oh, no, you've not got that signal. That stuff's a pain in the arse. Right, anybody else out there? Can anybody see me, hear me? Is everything good? Cheers, John. Thanks for letting me know, because it is quite nervy at this end. You sit here sometimes and you think to yourself, am I just talking to myself? And it's really unnerving seeing myself staring back at me, having a conversation with myself whilst reading everything else. It's difficult. It's quite difficult. Brilliant, Sam. Back again. Excellent. Good to see you, mate. How's it going? I hope it's all good with you. Been watching your stuff. Give me some ideas there. Hope you don't mind me borrowing a couple of them. Yeah, it's been a funny old week, hasn't it? We've had some weather here. Some of you have been lucky enough to get some great snow. As we are in here in Hampshire, we got our annual 2 inches of slush, which lasted between sort of 4 in the morning and 12 o'clock lunchtime. So it wasn't the best. Hence, there wasn't a lot of point in me going out and trying to do something in the snow. So I'm quite envious of you guys that had a bit of snow. One of my favourite environments. It's not just a Yorkshire thing, mate. It happens everywhere. Cheers, Sam. Right, so what am I trying to do with this tonight? Well, it's quite simple. There's lots of us in the community. Okay, I watch other people's videos, and there's lots of us that are interested in this. The whole bushcraft, the prepping, the survival, just being outside in the outdoors, just enjoying the nature. For a lot of us, for me, it's a de-stress. I'm not going to waffle too much, but a little bit about me. I love snow. It's because I don't get snow. If I got snow, I'd hate it. As some of you are aware, I'm a full-time carer for my wife. So my survival thing, my prepping thing, my whole channel thing was to give me something to focus for. I've spent years of my life doing, on career paths, shall we say, which were focused, 100% focused and dedicated to what I was doing. And I got into that mindset. I need something to focus. I need something to do. I need to be aiming at a goal. And caring for my wife is fantastic because we're getting to spend time together that we never had in the past. And it's nice. It's relaxing. It's a wonderful time together, and I love her so much. However, I missed having something I could just, something I had to do every week, something I could focus on. And I've been watching other people's channels on and off for years, sometimes seriously, sometimes, trying to learn things for myself, other times just for relaxation. And yeah, I thought, just on it. I've got years of experience of this. I've been doing this not just since I was a kid, but I've done it for donkey's years. So why not put some of my training and my skills out there for other people? You are, Sam. Oh, excellent, mate. Well, you know my situation. It's you've got to have something to put that mind on. Yeah, you've got to be able to take yourself away occasionally. So I decided to try and put my skill set out there. And like I say, I'm no expert. I've been practicing these skills for donkey's years. I've got loads of experience all over the place. So all I'm trying to do is share what I can with people, engage with them and get them to enjoy it. Anyhow, I'm getting serious. Stop this, Mike. Stop this. So this is Sunday Social. So it's a social. So I hope you don't mind. I'm going to have a beer. So let's crack that open, which will probably mean I'm going to have to dive off and have a pee in a little bit. You're probably going to get a blank screen of me, Mick, going, just have a look around the room in 30 seconds. But I'm sure you'll accept that. The other thing about the bushcrafting community, the prepping community, survival community, or as I will just refer to it from this point, the community. Everybody I've met and everybody I've engaged with so far has been pretty chilled. They've been pretty relaxed. There's a thing about being in tune with nature. People that spend a lot of time outside, and a lot of time in nature, they build, I think, almost like a resilience to life. They suddenly they know what's important. It's having a roof over your head, having food on the table, having shelter. It's the understanding of having the love of somebody else, the shelter, the food. That's what's really important. Yeah. hey, so Mrs. Bushcraft, yeah. Hey, Kaz, you're downstairs. Thank you, sweetie. So that's my darling wife. So any of you want to engage with her, any of you got partners that want to have a chat to her at any time, I keep offering or threatening to put her on the channel. I keep saying to her, come on, lovey, come on the channel because, we can do a bit of clickbait, but no, she won't have that. Oh, right, that's nice. A beer. So hopefully everybody else out there in the big wide world is doing great. Hopefully you're all excellent. As I always like to say, hope you, your family and your friends are well. Hope the weather where you are is better than it is here. And I hope you're having a great time. So where would we like to go with the live streams and the channel? Well, it's I want to keep pushing forward. I want to keep covering the survival and the prepping side of things. Prepping, as I've said in the past, that's a purely individual choice. Please excuse me smoking. The prepping's got to be a purely individual thing because everybody's got different needs and requirements. So everybody's going to prep their own way. However, I'd like to create this into a community where we can come together, where we can have meetups where I can travel up country, meet other people. They can come down here, have a weekend down here. And as I say, I'm very lucky. I've got access to a woodland. It's not mine, and when my friends or very good friends now aren't using it, I'm okay to have a camp, have a bit of time out there. Hi Foxy lady, how you doing? Hope you're good and welcome. And this is another thing I want to do a channel. I want to get more ladies involved with the channel. There's no reason why women can't get involved in bushcraft. There's only a few out there, but I'm damn sure there's a lot of ladies that want to engage with nature, that enjoy camping, that are as clever when it comes to survival and prepping skills as any man. When you look around the world, it's usually the and I don't wish to sound sexist. I'm not trying to put it that way, but it's the women that do a lot of the pickling, the storing, and all that. So, and one of the things in survival, as I'm always saying, is mindset. So having a strong or a partner with you that supports you is key to this. I can't do my channel without the support of my wife. I couldn't survive. Well, I couldn't survive a really serious situation without her support. Hi, Ian, how you doing? Welcome. Hi Phil, how you doing? I can't remember Greek people. Foxy lady, I've greeted you. Yeah, so having a partner that is somebody to talk to. You've got to have somebody to de-stress. You've got to have somebody to help support you. You've got to have somebody to say, you know, put that bloody great fire out. You're going to burn the cave down, sort of thing. And sometimes we all need to be tempered. We all need that person to say, you know, calm down. Maybe it's not as bad as we think. And when it comes to will, we need that person to go for. Interesting. Yeah, I've been feeding a fox through the cold periods. I live on a big old council estate, and in the really cold periods, I feed the fox. I'm a country boy. I grew up with foxes around me, and I've had to shoot a few over the years, which always upsets me. But that was purely, like I say, pest and vermin control and part of the role I had to do. But now I look after my foxes here. They help me keep the rats and the mice down. So when it's tough, I give them a little bit of support. And I think it was a vixen who decided to actually follow me in the front door and then stand in the front door, look at me and go, "Got any chicken, mate?" But yeah, we can't without our partners. We can't do a lot, Ray. You're exactly right. We have to. You know, it's without their support, even if it's just go on, get yourself out, go out the woods and have a play for a few hours. That's support. You know, it's the way we go. And the other trouble, of course, all these sort of things are expensive. Ilkley Moor, yeah, going to be cold up there. That is going to be cold up there. So so what we got to do, yeah, I have to turn around sometimes and say, Kaz, I'd like to get one of these. How long is it going to be before if I save it, I can get it? Like this brings me back to another thing. I have been trying to contact companies and see if they would be interested in not so much giving me stuff for free. I don't sound like it's begging, and I'm not going to go down that route. But I've tried having a chat to say, look, you know, I've got a channel. I'll do a review. You know, do me a deal. I'll do a review, and then maybe I can pass it on as a prize to one of my viewers and help grow my channel. A couple of companies come back and sort of said, yeah, very interesting. We'll get back to you. And that's all I seem to get at the moment. But we just keep plodding on, keep pushing. Is there anything you guys want to see this week? My filming day this week is possibly going to be Thursday. Is there anything that anybody in particular wants to see? Let me know. As long as it's clean and healthy, I'll give it a go. Whilst we're about it as well, get this out, and I'm probably going to mention this 2 or 3 times tonight. The Bush Camp, 6th and 7th of May. That's going to be down here in Surrey. I've got an address here for the meetup, which is going to be aimed at 10 in the morning. So it's the SO service station, Hogsback Seal, SEALE, at Farnham in Surrey, postcode GU101EU. I'll repeat that, Golf Uniform 101 Echo Uniform. And anybody that's interested in coming on that, yeah, send me an email. Because I've got to keep the numbers down to 10 purely because of the size of the woods, and it's going to be the first time we've done it, and I don't want to suddenly get 40-50 people in there and find we can't manage or it's an issue. So you can email me, and anybody can email me. This is my personal email address. So any of you guys that on the channel, any of my viewers, you've got a question, you've got a problem, you've got an issue, you want to know something, especially the bush camp, you can contact me at druidmitch@gmail.com. I'll repeat that, and it's small case DRUIDMITCH, druidmitch, or one word, @gmail.com. Sorry, I always think I'm talking to people like they're stupid when I'm trying to read things out. Like, I do apologize. That's a military thing. So you're sitting there going, do you understand. Don't put your head in the fire. Yeah, so yeah, so hopefully what we can do, we can all right, John. Yeah, so we may have bumped into one another at one time or other. I'm not ex Hereford, but yeah, if you've been over at Bramley any time, John, yeah, I've done a lot of work over there and at Longmoor with CPU. So there you go. Yeah, God, what a life. You're all chatting away here. Let's catch up there. Sam, there's no such thing as a regular soldier in the British Army, eh? No such thing as regular at all. Yeah, I don't care what anybody says. I'm an ex-sapper myself. That was my time. So, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's hence, if you've got anything shiny, hide it. Yeah. John, well, we'll leave that there, mate. Maybe when we meet up at some time, we'll have a chat, see where our paths have taken us. Do excuse me lighting this cigar. Yeah, very A-team. I do apologise. One of my simple pleasures in life is a cigar. And again, this isn't an expensive one. I haven't got a Cuban. This is a good old Henry Winterman's half Corona from my local Morrison's, and that's my guilty pleasure. Yeah. So, what are we going to do this year? Where will we go? What will we do? Well, I'm going to be heading down to Cornwall for some visits. Yeah, I'm excellent. More sappers, excellent. Okay, if I ain't bolted down, we'll have it away. Not a problem. Yeah, Phil, it's a filthy habit. Yeah, so's yours, mate. So I'm heading down to Cornwall at some point in the summer, hopefully. Got a lot of family in that down there, so going to do some beach survival, and I'm trying to see if I've still got contacts. Used to have some contacts at the RAF Survival School at St Morgan. I'm not even sure if it's still there, but I'm going to have a look into that and see if we can maybe get a guest or somebody who's prepared to come and have a chat with us and maybe even show us a couple of things. I got a very good friend who does a lot of messing about with boats, so I'm going to ask him. We're going to do probably a water survival and have a talk about the things that you should have in your boats. And I know for a lot of guys it's going to sound, oh, that's going to be boring, but what I'm trying to do is get a wide aspect out there. You know, it's trying to cover as much interest as possible, pull more people into the channel, and push it. You know, and as I've been saying, you guys gotta love a Class 1 combat engineer. So we got no problems here, right? So with our little community, we might have to sort something later in the year where we all get together. We might challenge some of the other communities out there. So take them up the woods, see what we can do. We got sappers. Let's build a bridge. Let's blow the bridge up. We got John. John, you do the recce. Me and Ian, we'll sort out the DEMS kit, and yeah, that's got everything covered. Right, my chat seems to be freezing up every now and again, so I'm just gonna have a play here to see what we can do. There we go. Yeah, so that's moving now. I hope it's all still working all right this end. Phil, can you still hear me? Hello. Have we got anybody out there? Is it still going? Yeah. Anglian Regiment. Yeah. Yeah, Ray, I agree. It's one of the, you know, one of the things, and I'm not going to mention any of the other channels, right? Because I do watch a lot of them. We all do, but there's some of them over the last 2 to 3 years, without being funny, seem to do so well on their sponsorship that it goes from doing what we do to look at what I've been given. Okay. And don't get me wrong, I'm not going to knock them for that. Those guys are turning that into their business and their livelihood, which is absolutely brilliant. Right. Guys I've got a lot of time and respect for are guys like TA Outdoors. Now there's a guy that started off with a little bushcraft survival channel, and he's grown that so well. And now he's branching out into doing woodland management, but he's doing traditional skills and things like that. And it's brilliant because it's entertaining and he's pushing forward with it. One of the difficulties I find with my channel is I sit there for days going, what am I going to do this week? What am I going to do? I did fire the other week. I had to walk up the canal. What am I going to do? Blimey, you know. And you sit there and you go out and you make a video, and you to be honest with you, you sit there. I edit it and upload it, and I'm thinking, oh, I hope people are going to enjoy this. I hope I haven't made it too long-winded. I hope I haven't made it too, you know, too in depth or whatever. But all you can do is push forward. And again, I rely on you guys. If you ever think I do a crap video or I've made a crap video, let me know. I'm never going to be offended. Just say, Mick, that one was a bit long-winded, or Mick, you're starting to repeat your videos. Maybe let's have a look at this or that. Because again, without the feedback, as you guys know with your channels and that, you without the feedback, you don't know what's going on. Oh, fantastic. You can hear me. Well, don't let me waffle too much. Any questions, any ideas, any comments, any plans, anything you would like to set up? Yeah, hit me up, chuck it out there, you know. If it's something, if you're going to hit me up with something that's private, email it to me. You know, if you've got a question, or even if you're coming down different fungi and mushrooms. See, there we go. Phil, I would love to learn more about fungi. I know a few. I know some of the medicinal ones that I can use. One of the issues I have with, and it's something that comes back to foraging videos, one of the issues I have with my foraging is I know exactly what I'm looking at that I can eat. And if I don't know what it is, I leave it well alone. All right. Or I go and find somebody that does know. One of the things that worries me, and it's worried me since the beginning, was after an incident many years ago where somebody I knew who was an instructor demonstrated some wild foraging, and the people went away and mistook what he had shown them and ended up consuming hemlock. And that's just stuck up there. Unless I will show you some wild edibles, but they are going to be 100% positive identifiables. It's going to be things that you won't make a mistake with. Yeah, Sam, I find that I do my videos, and I don't know about you. I go out, I film it, I sit there, I look at it, and you go, blimey, that's 2 hours of footage. And then you've got to edit it down. And I don't know about you, but you find sometimes in the editing, you're like, oh no, it's not making sense now. And hi Lee, how you doing? Oh, I appreciate that. I appreciate that's all I can be, mate. I try not to hide myself. Yeah, so I edit my videos down, and sometimes I sit here and I spend 3 or 4 hours doing editing, and then go, makes no sense whatsoever. I'm not happy with that. And then you go back and you constantly playing with it. And one of the things I'm sort of learning is not to panic about it. Not to panic about it. I mean, originally I set out and I said I would not do videos over 30 minutes because I thought 30 minutes would be enough for people. To be honest with you, I'm sort of realizing now, and it's not an attitude thing. It's sort of like, well, if my video's 45 minutes, if it's an hour, it's an hour. If it's going to be more than an hour, I'll break it up into several videos. But if it's an hour and I've made it entertaining and people are enjoying watching it and they watch it through for the hour, Excellent. Hi Rick, how you doing? Welcome to the channel. And again, I have to keep sort of looking across there. Do excuse the dyslexia. Yeah, so I sort of got I've sort of come to the realization, make the video, put the video up. If people enjoy it, they'll enjoy it. You'll sit there and watch somebody do a 30-minute video, and sometimes you'll go away from that craving more, which really as creators is what I suppose what you want. You want people desperate to come back. But I'd rather have something where people sit, they watch it, and in my mind, guys, when they're watching my videos, are sitting there and they're chilling, they're relaxing. Maybe they've got a beer, maybe a roll up, maybe a cigar, eating their crisps, having a pork pie, doing whatever they're doing. But I want my videos to be, do you know what, mix up. Let's have a watch, you know, and that sit back. I watch a guy, and as I've said to you guys, now I grew up in a farming environment, and I watch a guy, and I'd recommend his channel to all of you. I watch a guy every evening, 6 o'clock, without fail, Farmer P, right? Because it reminds me of my childhood, you know. And all this guy does is show his day on the farm, and I thoroughly enjoy it. And it's part of my relaxation routine, because it's like, sheep needs sorting, or the cow needs sorting. It sort of takes you back, and it's taking that our day to day, all the pressures, the crap, the bills, the rules, the regulations, gives you a chance to just go switch it off, get into my channel, watch my channel. And I think that's where mainstream TV's gone wrong. They've got too political. They're too, you know, you got to do this, and it's always an agenda. I like watching guys like Sam. I love your videos, mate. I absolutely love them. Why do I love them? Because you're like me. Hey, you go out there, you go, this is what I'm doing. This is how I'm doing it. This is how it worked out for me. If it goes right, you show it going right. If it goes wrong, you make a balls up. It's real life, you know. You meet people in this world that are your heroes. Because quite often you're disappointed. I've met two of my heroes in my life, and both of those didn't let me down, and both of those were brilliant guys. One was Lofty Wiseman, and again, fantastic guy, wealth of knowledge, and really lives his dream. Okay. And the other one was Ranulph Fiennes, you know. And again, these weren't, hello, I am Mick. These are just sit, listen to their talk, go up, thank them for their hard experience. Fantastic people. And why? Because they weren't putting across any agendas. They were just going, this is what I do. Ranulph Fiennes, this is what I do. And I've told my rescue crew, if it goes wrong out there, don't put your lives at risk, lads. It's my mistake. You know, I like that attitude in life. Show when you go wrong. If you didn't have any, or I lost my Lavu. So what would I do? What would I use for shelter if I didn't have any, or I lost my Lavu? So I take it. Yeah, brilliant guy. So Phil, if you didn't have a shelter, you can improvise a shelter out of anything that will keep the wind, the rain, or the sun off you. Okay. It could be cardboard boxes. Okay. Cardboard boxes make a good insulator, right? They do deteriorate in the water, but they will keep it off for a period of time. It can be a vehicle. It can be, I've done it myself, feed bags. Find a feed bag when you're out on a traipse, and literally knock the end out the feed bag, put it under your gear. That gives you an insulating waterproof layer. It's about adaptation, and this is the thing with bushcraft survival and that. It's about adapting. It's about having a mindset where you'll look at your environment and say to yourself, how am I going to get through this? What can I do? How can I manage? What are my resources? If your resources are rattan, and you're going to weave yourself or make yourself a rattan shelter, You're then going to collect banana leaves. You're going to plait those together to make the walls, and that great for that environment. If you're in say the UK, something goes wrong in the UK, there's always something out there. Bus shelters, okay, derelict buildings. Although I wouldn't, again, got to be careful what I say here. Entering obviously a derelict building, you've got to be careful. You've got to be there. But if it was a survival situation, if you're up on the hills, using your Ordnance Survey maps, you can find bothies. Caves, always be wary of caves. A cave can be shelter. It can also be a death trap in your tomb. If you're down in Cornwall, where I come from originally, out on the moors, some of those caves suddenly turn out to be air shafts for mines, and some of those have got drops of 300 or 400 feet straight down vertical. And those mines have been shut for 50, 60, 70, 100 years in some cases. You drop down one of those, nobody's ever going to find you. Let's just have a look through my comments. Yeah. Oh, you know him? Oh, John. Oh, excellent. Yeah. I follow in, yeah, talking about Mr. P. Me and Kaz every night religiously. And a friend of ours, Jace, it's there. It's the three of us sat there like, what's he up to? How's Biscuit? For the rest of you, yeah, have a look at him. TV, I don't do TV. I say I don't do TV. I do the odd movie and that. Yeah, you could. There's that much rubbishy shit. Like, oh, excuse my language. Not allowed to swear. I've been told off for that before. I'm not allowed to swear. Yeah. Jim, welcome, mate. Have I done any tracking? Yes, I have done a bit of tracking. I'm not brilliant at it because in the UK we don't really have a lot to track. I did a long time ago do a man tracking course, which was quite interesting. Learned some interesting skills there. Wildlife tracking and animal identification in UK is pretty much, we're so limited on what we've got. It's quite simple. But yeah, again, it's having the skills and the resources for the area you're in. Sign cutting, yeah, it's yeah, it's. Can I track a deer? Yes, I can track deer. Can I recognise the species of deer by their hoof prints? I certainly can. Can I tell you a rabbit from a raccoon? Well, here in Hampshire, definitely. Yeah, so, and trapping in the UK, we have to be very careful with. There's all sorts of rules and regulations on trapping and on hunting in the UK. And one of the things that we have to bear in mind is every January the 1st, the government release what they call the general license. And that lists all the species that are protected for the next 12 months and all the species that are then being classified as pests. And it's updated every year. And then you've obviously got to check that, you've got permission for that game or that pest species that you've got to control or manage. And as I say, I've become a bit of a, how can I put it, not hippie. Hippie's the wrong word. Someone said to me the other day, called yourself a hippie, you're not a hippie. No, I'm a conservationist, shall we say. Okay, and I'm a practical conservationist. I have hunted. It's something I grew up doing as a youngster, growing up, not fox hunting, because I don't like chasing anything to death, but the practical removing of a pest, shall we say. Do I enjoy hunting? I've never enjoyed killing anything in my life. I do get a sense of satisfaction about a quick, humane, fair exit for my quarry, put it that way. And I do believe that if you are going to control a species, you should find a use for what you've gained. Okay, even if it's just putting back out for things like red kites. So I've got a friend that does rat control, and he does it with an air rifle. And those rats that he's gained from that, he cleans, removes the lead pellet or the pellet. I don't think you're allowed to use lead for them anymore. Removes that, and those carcasses actually go up to a red kite feeding station, not far from where we live. So again, that's all good management. Uh, do I think I could survive off of what I can gain in the world? Yeah, we all could. Any of you could. You know. Um, yeah, Lee, I have the Bible sat next to me. It's always there. And Lofty Wiseman, why is he a hero of mine? That's because as a young man, and I never got to go to scouts and that. Just wasn't where I was. So all my skills were learned either from my father, my mother, and from neighbours and friends. So I went ferreting with the local ferreters, and I learned to ferret. And then as a young man, I come into the world of Lofty Wiseman, basically because I heard him on a radio broadcast, and I thought this guy really sounds like he knows his stuff. And so I went out, saved my pennies, bought the book, and you know what? Never looked back. And you know, there's people that will knock him. Oh, his stuff's old fashioned. His stuff's old fashioned. Just not. You know what? He's got the answers. Survival. We've been doing it for millions of years. No reason why we can't keep doing it. The environment changes, the equipment changes, but the actual needs and requirements of you to survive remain the same. The technology just gets better in some cases. Modern gear versus old gear. I enjoy modern gear. I like Gore-Tex. I like lightweight materials. They make it comfortable to move. They're light to wear, and you can go for miles. I also like traditional materials. I used to wear tweed a lot. Not expensive Harris tweed, couldn't afford that, but I used to have a set of tweeds and a set of breeks, which come just below the knee, and my wellies. And you know what? Never got cold, never got wet. It's all 100% wool. You know, it would take being dragged along a barbed wire fence. It really would. Brilliant kit, old-fashioned kit. And I've heard a lot of people not. Well, I used to get guys that I was actually working with at the time. You know, oh, bloody wear that. You look ridiculous in that. You know, my Gore-Tex jacket, I just snagged it. You know, done. But Gore-Tex does have its place. I'm on the hunt at the moment for another bivvy bag. Use that for bivvy bag, just as a backup. DPM over MTP. Yeah, I agree with you. I'm a DPM person, as you can see. So DPM on my long sack. MTP, still out on it. It's not a pattern I like. But again, it's down to here, isn't it? It's down to what you're used to. I mean, I'm 57 now, so DPM, yeah, that was my era. But again, it just moves forward and on. I do like, actually, I've got quite a few mates that are serving at the moment, and the way the uniform has progressed, not necessarily from a smart point of view, because I still think it looks a bit scruffy, but the way the kit's designed, the way the pockets have been designed, the linings, the way the zippers and the fastenings are being thought out, I think that's gone leaps and bounds. And it's things like boots, you know. First pair of boots I ever had were absolutely hideous, and they fell apart in weeks. They were made out of pressed cardboard, I'm sure of it. I don't think there was an ounce of bloody leather in there. The soles were absolutely rock hard. They had no comfort for your feet. It just, were terrible. But you look at the kit now, I think there's a mindset of trying to make the kit more practical rather than the presentation, which is the way it ought to be. You know, anybody that's had to run around a training area or the field, you just want kit that's going to work for you. It's going to be comfortable. It's going to last. So yeah, I think it's come on, and like I say, the MTP is not my favourite pattern, but then at the end of the day, does it really matter as long as it keeps the wind and the rain off? You know. No, see, Lee, I see where you're coming from. That, however, when you look, 10 years ago, there wasn't much in the way of people looking at the old practical skills, and there is a movement. It's growing back towards that sort of thing. And as I've where I help out with the off-road driving centre, one of the things I do to help cover my keep for being allowed to use the woods is I go up occasionally and I'll run a survival morning or a survival day, and invariably it's youngsters. Invariably it starts off with kids from anywhere from 10 to 18, 19 years old. About it, I essentially call them kids at 18, 19, young people. But it's they've come along that want to do this experience and are fascinated and really keen to learn, and it fits in with a lot of their concerns with the environment and so on. And the weird thing is, you get the parents start off not wanting to know, but as soon as you start getting people doing flint and steel, that's it. They want to have a go. So I think one of the responsibilities for me as a I don't know, channel provider, content maker, whatever, is to try and engage, give the information. I know, in a if you want to put it in an awful way, in a genuine survival situation, if we went into a scenario, shall we say, an apocalyptic scenario, you don't want every other bugger knowing how to survive because they're using the resources. That might be a bit harsh of me, and it might be a bit politically incorrect, but if you're the only guy in the village that knows how to fish, hunt, provide for, one, you can look after yourself. Two, you can probably keep yourself comfortable in the village with everybody else looking after all the menial tasks. DPM with black boots. Smart. Does anybody remember the assault boots when they first come out? I think it must have been about 94, 95. The black combat assault boot. They actually had the shaped heel on it. Oh yeah, I remember when they come out. My first pair I had issues got stolen by a corporal. Yeah, had my boots, son. He was the same size feet as me. Oh, right. Yeah, could do a video on chest rigs. That's the other thing. So I've had somebody contact me, Lee, who said, "Oh, what we need in the UK, just because you like Mr. Scott, we need a recognised body like Lantra that will certify instructors for teaching bushcraft." And I actually turned around and said, "No, you don't want that at all, because as soon as we go into that realm, you're going to have a lot of people who want the qualification but have very little skill. And as we know, bushcraft, survival and prepping, there are so many facets to it, okay? And it comes down to not just, as I'm always saying to people, it's not just like the flint and steel, how to process water and that. You've got to equate into it in a genuine situation. And bear in mind, if you were going to be a bushcraft survival instructor, you're going to try and teach people skills to save their life in an emergency. But as I'm always saying to people, it's got to come back to mindset. Now, everybody's got a different mindset. To have two people raised, same religion, same household, same place, same environment, their life experiences will change how they adapt to each situation. Different build, shape, nutritional requirements, illness, and so on. So every situation is different, and I'm quite pleased that there isn't a governing body that wants to come in and suddenly say, this is the syllabus, this is what you will teach, this is how you will teach it. I'm quite happy just to turn around to people. As I say, I'm not an instructor, I'm not an expert. I'm just sharing what I've gained in knowledge, and I think that's the way to go. Jim, spot on. Do you know what I've been saying for years? It upsets people. Excuse me. I've been saying to people for years, we have a school system, okay? So our young people go to school. Why aren't they taught first aid? Why isn't first aid? It doesn't have to be massive in the syllabus, but why isn't basic first aid taught in the syllabus? It's something that can save their lives, family members' lives, strangers' life, and so on. It's a pure life skill. Now, one of the things I did attend when I was in my teens was St John's Ambulance Brigade, and that the stuff I learnt in that has absolutely come to help me all through my life at different times. And then it progressed into learning other skills. So yeah, basic outdoor skills. Teach. We're all outdoors guys. We're all outdoors people. How many times have you been walking? In fact, I'll give you a scenario because this happened to us a few years ago. One of the places I like to visit in North Cornwall is a place called Row Tor. It's on Bodmin. Now, from the car park to the top of the Tor is not that far, but it's a fair, steady climb. You know, for an average person, it's probably a 45, 50-minute climb, and it is open. It's just open moorland. And on the top, you've got this huge area of rocks. You climb on top of that, you look across to Brown Willie, which is the highest tor on Bodmin Moor. And I don't know if you know the area, but I'll try and describe it. So you've got Row Tor, middle of Bodmin Moor, it's desolate. If I stood on the top, to my right, I've got the Atlantic. Okay. Straight ahead to me and off slightly to my left, I've got Dartmoor. Behind me, I've got Exmoor. All right. Beyond Dartmoor, I've got the English Channel. There is very, very little stopping the weather and the environments coming in. Okay. So we're walking up there, and it was September, probably towards the end of September. And we're walking up, and I've got a small day sack on. There's 4 of us going up there. I've got enough brew kit for everybody. I've got enough food for everybody. I've got my first aid kit, and I've got a shelter system. So if the weather conditions change, somebody has an accident, I can shelter them, I can comfort them, I can get help in and out. And I'm very experienced with that area. Know it pretty much like back of my hand. And there was a family that pretty much came up, weren't anything to do with us. We bumped into them. And as we got to the peak on the top of the moor, I looked out towards Dartmoor, and the whole horizon for about an inch was black. And I could see it growing. And I knew straight away that is a big old storm. And that's coming across Dartmoor, which is not going to hold it back in any way, form, or manner. And so we've probably got about 30 minutes, if we're lucky, to get off the hill. And I look round at this family who are now deciding to walk down across and up Brown Willie, which would have put them a good sort of 4.5, 5 miles from the car park, in their flip-flops and shorts and t-shirts. And they've got small children with them. And I sort of said, guys, can you just give you a nice bit of advice? I'll save it for another day. And Dad went, and what's it to do with you? And I said, well, not a lot really, but I don't want to be one of the guys that has to come up and look for your bodies. And he went, what was that? It's a beautiful day. And I pointed out the horizon, explained what it was, and said to him, the problem with these places is it can be a beautiful day now, but you can go to zero visibility in minutes, and the temperature will drop. And then you go wandering off, and you'll either lose one of the kids down one of the old mine shafts, or somebody gets hurt, or you go down with hypothermia. You won't last. So my advice to you is head back to your car. And they didn't like the advice, but the mum, who was fairly sensible and level-headed, took it, and they made their way off. We stayed up there for about another 45 minutes, and we came down. Well, bear in mind, my initial visibility was I could literally see to all across to Dartmoor. When we came down, we had a visibility of about 20 meters. But again, I was confident and knew enough of the ground there to put myself on the right path, keep my group on that path, and knew exactly where it would take me back, and just slowly meandered our way back. We actually had a nice brew halfway down. So yeah, Ray, you're right. Once the government gets involved, there'll be too many do-gooders that, yeah, can't do this, can't do that, spoil it for everybody, and then you're going to have a license for it, and then you'll have to pay for the license every 3 years. as I've told you guys before now, I worked in security for a while, and I worked in sort of security that's now licensed by the SIA. Yeah, I don't agree with that. Why should a man have to pay for a license to do his job? I can understand it for the first time entering the field, pay for the qualification. I can understand regular safety and security checks on an individual. Fine. Why, every 3 years, do you have to go and learn the same thing and then pay 200 or 300 quid out to private organisations to get a certificate to allow you to work? That's not right. Yeah, exactly that. You get up on the moors. I often get asked what's the most dangerous place to be, survival wise. And I usually laugh and say golf courses. It's one of those interesting things. I watch people going up mountainsides. Go up to Fort William a fair bit. And I see people going up to do Nevis and that. And they've got all the gear. Right? There's the odd idiot that just doesn't have the gear. But they in them whole, the majority have the gear. But you can go to somewhere like Dartmoor or Bodmin, pull up in a car park, and it looks beautiful, especially Dartmoor. It's beautiful. I would just have a walk up to the top of the Tor there. It'd be lovely. And I once got told, and I'd have to check on it, but I once got told more people die on Dartmoor and Bodmin than any of the mountains in the UK. Purely and simply for that reason, because they look at it and go, that's a nice easy walk, we'll do that. That won't be a problem. And any of us that have been down that way know that the weather can change like that. And when it comes in bad. The temperature can go from nice, warm, pleasant t-shirt, shorts weather to bitterly cold, going down with hypothermia, and it can do it in no time at all. Did it take you 4 hours to get you out of the hole, or 4 hours to get you off the moor? Because if you've wandered into one of them peat bogs, God, that's an experience that frightens. That gives you the willies. That does. I went up to my thighs in a peat bog. It frightened the life out of me. Yeah, Yorkshire moors. Yeah, same. Moorland. It's because you get that wide, open, rolling view. Dales, peaks. Yeah, it's the same thing again. And you pull up in a car park, and you can do it on any sunny Sunday. You'll pull up, and you'll see the guys going out for their walk with their family, and it does scare me. But then again, do you get involved? That's the other awkward one, isn't it? Now, I'll always try and advise people if I think the conditions are getting bad. I'm the sort of idiot that'll go, excuse me, guys, can I just give you a tip? I wouldn't necessarily, and I try and advise them, and I've been told, where to go in no uncertain terms for now. And you shrug your shoulders. What can you do? You can't force people. The only thing you can do, if anything, is turn around and say, make sure your phone's working. If it does get bad, promise me you'll just stop and phone for the emergency services. And then some poor bugger from the mountain rescue's got to put his neck at line to go and get them, or online to go get them. Oh, that beer's good. Yes. Yeah, embarrassment. Yeah, I've done it a few times. Going over flat on your face. Walking a group of lads out onto the ranges, and I'm going out onto the ranges with them, and I'm leading the way, and I'm talking to the RCO, and I'm giving a safety brief. One of my roles was on training areas and ranges, and I'm giving a safety brief. It's middle of winter, and I looked around at the RCO and the major that's next to him and said, and make sure your guys are aware this is slippery, at which point both my feet come up level with my face and I landed flat on my back. And I did that one where you lay there a bit winded for a second or two and then turn around and say, now I've given you a demonstration. I don't want to see any of your guys doing it. They sort of picked me up. And the rest of the safety brief from that day was a little bit sort of red-faced by my part. They wouldn't take it serious. But it happens. But again, you can only laugh about it. Yeah. Yeah, see all over. You can see Pendle Hill. I've never been to Pendle Hill. Might have to come up and visit you up there. Oh, Pokemon Go craze. Oh, Jesus. That was That was a nightmare, wasn't it? Now, at the time, I was covering a live firing and training area. That was my role. And we were getting people going in when the red flags up, when live firing. And for those of you ex-military, you'll know what an ETR range, and it was a field firing ETR range. So there's nothing, no bullet catcher to stop the bullets at the end of the range. They just go out into the training area, lose their velocity, drop into the undergrowth. And that range was cleared for GPMG. And I had in front of the console, which is a target control area, 6 guns set up with their teams firing. And they GPMGs is burst fire, but it's controlled burst fire. It's boom, 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 boom. No tracer, because we had a pyro ban on. There's all heather out there. You can only do that in the winter, but there was no tracer. Fine ball, and all of a sudden, one of the guys is just gone stop, and 200 meters beyond the target point. So from where they were firing, 500 meters away, he just spotted people. And it was a family, right? 2 women, about 6 kids, and a couple of Labradors. Exactly that, Pokemon Go. And we stopped firing on the complete complex, got out there to get them out of the area, and got there, and I'm fuming. And so, yeah, there's a red flag. Where did you come in? We come in over that gate. You climbed over the gate. Yeah. There's a red flag up. Yeah, but it's not actually blowing properly, is it? It's just hanging there. It's a flag on a pole. It's bright red. It is 4 foot damn square. There's a big sign under it saying, if you can see a red flag, don't go into the area, it's dangerous. Oh, I didn't think it'd be too much of a problem. Yeah. Yeah, 2 or 3 times I've had situations like that. I actually had one family that they weren't in the direct danger area, but were approaching it within the boundary flags. And so I screeched up in the vehicle, screamed at them, stop, don't move. And they all looked at me and I said, don't move, you're in a danger area. You put 1 foot wrong, you've had it. And they're sort of now looking a bit worried. And I made a big thing, only about sort of 50 meters from the fence line. So I made a big thing of climbing over the fence line and tracking my way through the undergrowth. Got out to them and said, you're in the middle of a live minefield. What are you doing? They were like, oh, we just wanted to go look at the pond. So follow me back. And I made them step in my footsteps all the way back to the fence, lift the kids over and got them out and give them a bit of a dressing down. But again, you can't help stupid. Yeah, that was Pokemon Go craze. That was a nightmare. And some people, yeah, you can't help for stupidity. Darwin was right, you know. Some will make it and some won't. Maybe that's health and safety for you. Maybe too many of them are surviving. Anyhow, I'm just going to go back through my replies because I've been looking at the screen, gabbing away, looking at myself. Let's have a look back through. Yeah. So, I say, any of you that want to come on the bushcraft camp, hit me up. 6th or 7th of May. So that's going to be, it's going to basically, I'm supplying the woods guys. It's only little woods, minimum facilities. We literally got a camping loo, okay, in a shed. I know that doesn't sound brilliant, but it's all I can set up. It's a case of bring your cook set with you, bring your scoff for the weekend, bring your shelter system, whatever you want to use. We're going to have one main central fire pit, which does, you've seen it on my videos, it's the one with the frame and that. So if you want to use that to cook over, yeah, not an issue with that at all. If you've got box stoves, gas stoves, gasifier stoves, meths, that, and you want to cook where you're putting your shelter up, by all means do. Obviously, usual rules apply for safety and that, because it's only a little sake of wood, and it is boundaried by other people who've got big houses there. So I have to try and be nice to them and good to them. There'll be 10 of us in there, hopefully. And again, it's just going to be about having a good time together, chilling. Sam, 80 miles. I hope you've been building yourself up to it, mate. It's so how long do 80 miles? Basically, do you know what? As I'm getting older, we were talking about it the other day. We were talking about, because we got a nice walk here locally along the Basingstoke Canal. It's 38 miles. It's not huge, and I started sort of building myself up. One of the ones I was going to do for a giggle, and I've always had it in the back of my mind, was to do here where I'm in Farnborough in Hampshire to Cornwall, literally to where my family live at Morganporth. It's 245 miles in a car. And I've always thought, I wonder if you could do it, how long it would take you to do it. That's it. Well, I've gone away from the idea. And again, when I open the channel or start the channel, it was in the back of my mind. Could I do that? Could I do that? Could I do that? But in reality, testing myself, I'm a 10-mile man now. Yeah, 10 mile a day. That's comfortable. Now, it's not a huge distance. I could probably push myself out 20 miles, but I'm 57. I'm carrying a dodgy hip, dodgy knees. So I tend to be Ilkley to Bonus and Windermere. Love Windermere. Got some excellent photographs of me and my little dog at Windermere. Beautiful area. Yeah, so these days I tend to sort of keep myself down to what I call 10 milers. The other thing is, for the channel, I have to, as somebody said to me, be aware that a lot of your viewers are guys that don't do what you do, and try and show them how they can get into it, how they can progress. You know, when it's I'm looking forward to seeing yours, Sam. 8 miler, excellent. Okay, but an 80 miler for, say, Joe Blogs and his kids, just getting into this sort of things is a stretch for them. So you cover the 80 milers and the big ones, and I'll do the shorter ones. Yeah, gone are my days of doing long tabs. I would like to do, see, 80 miles for me is going to equate to pretty much 8 to 9 days. Dale's Way. I'm going to have a look at it. I'll have a look at it, because I've got to get out and start doing some more. My fitness is, like I say, it's not the best. But then again, that's another rule of survival, isn't it? It's self-assessment. Survival, prepping skills, self-assessment. We all look at ourselves and remember what we used to be like. My brain is still that 22-year-old guy that would put his pack on and disappear and say, you know, so it's a 60 miler, 70 miler, let's crack it out, you know, and go and do it. Yeah, but we all still feel like that at heart. We all still would like to. Yeah, and so I think you have to. One of the things, if I was to run a survival school, if I was to teach, and again through my channel, what I try and teach, and I hope comes across, is to be practical about your own skills and your abilities. I mean, the funniest thing with me is I love abseiling. I'm absolutely terrified of heights. Absolutely terrified. Destroys me. To the point where my oppos ended up with me on the roof of a tin shed that was basically a rain shelter, and it was probably no taller than 8 or 9 feet. And it got to the point where they were going to throw things at me to get me off, because I couldn't jump off. I couldn't do it. Every time I went, go to the edge, look down, go, all right, I'm going to go. I'm going to do it in a second. God, at heights, that's my thing. But the daft thing is abseiling. As I was saying the other day about, you know, having your kit, being trained well, and having confidence in your equipment. Yeah? But you put me on a ladder, I go up 3 rungs, and it just like that, just always has been. So I have to accept that, I've pushed me. I mean, don't get me wrong. We all push ourselves beyond our abilities at times, and if you have to, yeah, you have to. I've gone out of windows. Parachuting never cured it. I don't think it would. I've always said to people, I got an option to go away and do as part of a training group, and I got the question: you can go to the para reg or you can go work with the Marines. And I remember looking at the boss and saying, I can swim, I can't fucking fly. Excuse my language. They always say, my Mac, he's ex-para reg, and he's always laughing about it because he knows me very well. And as he said, you know, it'd be like a siren. You want a parachute, you do you the whole way down. Yeah. But again, it's realizing your own abilities, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. So again, John, rope lining. It's the training, isn't it? It's you start small, you work up to it, you build the confidence in the equipment, in the technique, and away you go. I remember the first time I looked out with Chinook, I was just, yeah, absolutely inside my whole little world, like that. Loved the view, loved the experience, but just something in there, yeah, didn't help. Boats and water, yeah, that's my element. I do boats and water. I love it. Yeah. So in fact, Sam's probably a wise man. Don't do heights or boats or water. Yep. Remove as many of the risks and threats out of it as possible. And that's the art of survival, my friends. Yeah. And people said to me in the past, they said, oh, I can give you an experience that will cure you. Yeah, never does. And yeah, I have no fear of animals. There isn't a single animal I've come across, whether it be a venomous snake, a insect, predatory animal, that really gives me the willies. I suppose it's, again, that's that farming and natural thing. I can understand what a brown bear or black bear is thinking, how it's working, and how its processes go. I know how to relieve myself from the risk, right? And I know what the risks are, and so it all quates as natural to me. He poops on the ground. But yeah, so where are we going to go with the channel? That's my other question to you guys. Where would you like to see me take the channel? Carry on as I am? Do you think I ought to do more reviews? You know, it's one of the things I've been thinking about is that's because you went yachting. It's, yeah, I don't know. It's I want to push forward with this, and I think I'm looking forward to the camp. That's going to be the big thing for me, to get down with some of you guys and other people and just sit around a fire and go, what do you reckon? Where should we go? It's like this tonight. I mean, Social Sunday. I've not got a time to finish the stream. So you guys, anytime you guys have got things to do and you want to meander off, or you want to, you know, you've had enough, by all means, with all my blessing, go do what you got to do. This is just, I want to do this on a Sunday, and literally, for me, this is like going down the pub. It's sitting having a chat with a few people. Ooh, baby's heads. Yeah. I can't imagine. Can't imagine that. So, broken ankle. So you parachuted in. Was that a shoot failure or a candle? Or did you just come in too quick, wrong angle, wind behind you? Cheers, Lee. Cheers, Lee. Jim, I can't imagine how horrible that is. And a broken ankle. Yeah, that's a screamer. I remember doing a medic's course and having this burly old lad who said to me, "You gauge your injuries on the noise they make." I said, "All right." He went, "Yeah. You got screamers?" I said, "Yeah." No, he said, "You got swearers?" That's all right. He said, "You got screamers. And then you got the ones that can't breathe." And I was like, "Okay." And he said, "When we're talking about pain, there is, you hit your thumb with a hammer. That's agony. You will jump up and down, hold your thumb and go, fuck, 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 fuck." And he said, "Then you got the screamers." He said, "Busted shin bones, dislocated knees, broken ankles." He said, "And they scream." He said, "That's the agony." He said, "Then you've got the ones you really got to watch for, and that much pain, they can no longer physically make a sound because their diaphragm's compressed." And he said, "All you'll get from them is," and that stuck with me for years. And it's a couple of times I've been in a situation where I came across a car crash, and when I got to the guy, it was exactly the noise he was making. I was like, "Oh, we're in trouble here." Yeah. A bit of time getting into the safety aspect of survival and bushcraft. Yeah. 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 4Bs. Yeah. Yeah. Showing her age there. My Landy. God, let's tell you a bit about my Land Rover. Well, my vehicle experience. Okay, so you'll see my Land Rover, and I am out and out old school. Right, so I restored, rebuilt, and I'm no mechanic, a Land Rover Lightweight Series 3 ex-military, 1974. That was the best car I've ever owned in my life. Loved it. Absolutely adored it. Simple enough for me to maintain. Great off-road capability, 50 mile an hour, which meant, yeah, it was a bit of a long journey going anywhere, but I loved it. It was just awesome. Sound of the old SAT tires on the road, lovely. Okay, Sam, do a weekly topic on bushcraft and safety in the bush. Okie doke. Yeah, that's where we'll go this week. I will look for that for this week. That's where we'll start doing that. Hiking equipment. You're trying to get me to come on this walk with you, aren't you? So then I went from that to various Defenders, Toyotas, Hiluxes, Amazons. I was working on the Rangers and the complexes when they pretty much went over to White Fleet. All the guys started getting issued. Originally, it was 4 Rangers, and then they got the Hiluxes in and that. Brilliant vehicles, love them all. We had recently a Australian spec Defender 110, so the Isuzu engine and an automatic gearbox, which both me and the wife thoroughly loved. That was a gorgeous vehicle to drive. However, it was just too much for Kaz to get in and out of. And we thought that was it. We could give up the 4-wheel drive, we'll give up the green laning and that. And it's a nice thing for Kaz because I can get her out and go green laning. And I'm hoping to do some green laning videos. And again, as I said, people, my Hampshire outdoors and survival. The outdoor side is just like me having a walk down the canal, me showing you a bit of history, me maybe doing a bit of green laning, just show people some of the areas we've got because they are beautiful. And then we bought the Disco 3, which has the hydraulic suspension in it or air suspension in it. So Kaz still gets to go green laning and off-roading with us. So Sam, camping, survival, military surplus stuff. Yeah. Now, I've got to, I did speak to a local army surplus store and it all seemed very positive. And I sent an email and I've not heard a reply back. And I'm like, do I go in and bug the guy? Which I don't really want to do because he is a nice guy. I suppose I'm going to have to. I'm going to have to pop over there and have a chat to him, because again, he was quite keen on a couple of videos from the store showing you new kit, stuff that's available, some of the old kit, and again, he sells online as well. So the idea was, it gives me something to show you guys, but I didn't want to do. I see a lot of videos where people just walking around an army surplus store going, "Oh, do you remember these mess tins? Oh, do you remember these boots?" I actually want to go in and have a chat to the guy and say, "Look, what's up and coming? What's the new kit out now? What are people looking for?" Yeah, 24 hours. Yeah, just using stuff in the wild, catching and killing for food. Yeah, I've been thinking about this. I can't seem to get any sense out of YouTube. What I can gather, I'm not allowed to show anything getting killed, but I can show meat preparation. But apparently you have to show it in a manner that isn't going to offend or upset anybody. Yeah, that's getting to be a bit of a nightmare. Because one of the things I was going to do is go out where I've got to do some vermin control, bag some rabbits, do some rabbits. Again, I don't know if you saw, because I don't actually go back and look too much. Once I've done a video and I've uploaded it and Kaz has watched it and she's happy with it, I tend to leave it alone. The only thing I watch is for my like count and my subscriber count. I did one the other day on rabbit starvation, and sort of the myths and the wherefores of rabbit starvation, because it's something I don't know about you guys. I get it quite often. People, yeah, no point killing rabbits. You can't eat rabbits. Can't eat rabbits. And you're like, well, you can. It's a bloody good source of protein, but that's all you're getting from them is protein. Oh, I always upset somebody. Guaranteed in my life. I've only got to walk into Morrison's and if somebody's offended or upset. Yes, I did that little live video on rabbit starvation to try and just dispel some of the myths, because again, when you look at it historically, rabbits were a main source protein in the UK for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years for the common man. But you had to balance the food out. You still needed carbohydrates, you still needed fats. So I tried to put that, and I've had somebody come back and go, I've had a couple of people say, yeah, spot on, you are dead right. But I've also had a couple of people go, no, I've read a book and it says that if you eat rabbit, you're going to die of starvation. Well, what do? You can't educate the foolish, can you? Yeah. Yeah, I think you can issue a warning. It's one of these minefield things, isn't it? When you're growing your channel, one of the things you're always looking at and you're always aware of. Well, I don't know about everybody else. I am, because I'm a bit nervous and suddenly get somebody go, right, that's it, boot him off. Because I'm not, and I'll be honest with you, I'm not the most literate of people. Okay, so I had, I should call it a farming education. I did not do well at school. In actual fact, I was in my 20s when, with the help of my wife and a very, very considerate person at a night class, I learned to do pretty much basic reading, writing, and math skills. For years, I hid from it. Was embarrassed and ashamed because my literacy was so poor. Unfortunately, no, I don't have a ham license. I'll have a look into it, Lee. I'll have a look into it. Yeah, because I no longer. I'll get it straight. I'm my firearms. Yeah, I handed back. when I stopped doing the vermin control, I handed back my firearms license. I retained my shotgun license, and I still shoot shotgun. But I had no requirement because I lost the land that I used to do. Well, I didn't lose it. I left the job, and so therefore lost my permission where I could do the vermin and small game control. And I wasn't going to go out and start driving around farms and other landowners and trying to find where I could do it. But I do have a friend, a very dear friend, who still does deer management. And I've mentioned to him that I would like to possibly come along and do a video. And he's very much into his bushcraft, his wilderness survival, and that, as well as being a very, very respected and highly qualified deer manager. So I might be having a chat to him about doing that. Yeah. Yeah, I was same, Sam. I left school at 15, went straight into work, and my youth was spent. Actually, the school got to the point where they weren't bothered about me not being there. Yeah, go and do what you got to do. So I spent most of my time learning about farming and yeah, the woods and that. It was a different era then. You wouldn't get away with it these days. Yeah, so but that's also left me realizing in life, actually. In fact, I got told years ago, very, very early on, when I was on a course and I was flapping. And I was flapping about my ability to spell. And as it was a sergeant that turned around, he looked at me and he said, "What's the matter, lad?" I said, "I can't do this course. I can't spell. I can't." And he went, "As long as if I read it, I can understand what you're trying to tell me. That's all that matters. Don't worry about your spelling. Right? As long as it makes sense and it's logical, and I can see the information you're trying to put down there, all is good." And I've actually stuck with that through the rest of my life. And it always makes you laugh. You write something down and somebody picks you up on it. And I always look at it as a bit of a smug arrogance, because I tell you what, if I took them up the woods and tried to get them to do something, or I tried to get them to strip an MP5K or an AKM or something like that, strip that and clean that, I guarantee you they're going to look at me with a blank face and go, "I can't do that." I go, "Yeah, exactly. It's the ability to read, write, do maths is not a measurement of intelligence." Yeah. Yeah, they had a bit of doing that, didn't they? Calling people back, like. Yeah. Yeah. And I think intelligence is about how you're prepared to learn in life, isn't it? So you get on. Blimey, that's a rough job at that age. I did a stint when I was 18 for Chitties in Guildford in Surrey at the slaughterhouse. Yeah, I was a lairage worker, which it was quite funny because they went, "You know cattle?" So yeah, I know cattle. And so they put me in charge of the lairage at the age of 18. So I managed that. But obviously seeing the rest of it, yes. That's a rough old job for somebody straight out of school. That's yeah. Yeah, I agree with you, Lee. Experience more practical than intelligence. And again, it's how somebody uses their experience is how I measure their intelligence. I've met people from all over the world. I've met try and turn this correctly without getting into trouble. So I've met indigenous people that have no knowledge of the outside world, and some of the most intelligent and bright people I've ever met. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you would have had to. Yeah, I think was it 18 I could work in the lairage. I think I had to be 21 to actually go into or work in the slaughterhouse. It might have been 18, I don't know. Long time ago. Funny how time goes as well, isn't it? It's yeah. Blimey. Well, fair play to you, Jim. Fair play to you, mate. And you're right in exactly what you're saying there. Because I'll tell you an interesting one for me. I had to go back to school. So I left at 15 and I had to go back and do my basic exams, most of which I failed. Okay. The one I did get was an O level in physics. And then I got called back into the school and had to be grilled over my O level physics pass because they couldn't understand how a lad that couldn't do maths and a lad that could hardly read and write could do a physics exam and pass it, and to a reasonably good standard. Well, in those days, our physics exams were based on basic electricity, magnetism, basic chemistry. And I grew up on a farm with a father that was a bloody good mechanic. And I understood electricity, magnetism, and basic chemistry because of what I'd experienced. And I had an interest in it. So when I sat in a physics lesson, although I never ever filled out any book once, I never did any coursework, but I was sitting listening to it, and 99% of it just went dink, 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 because it made sense. I got it. I could figure it out. When somebody stood there and started talking about numbers, because I had a bit of a disinterest in it, it was a block. It was like, it doesn't make sense to me. And nobody in those days would sit you down and go, right, this is how it works. All right. They just go, you sit at the back, shut up. You know, that was, that was 70s education for you. So you didn't get the help that you needed to understand it. When I went back into it in my 20s, the woman that taught me was very, very patient and literally said, I'm not going to insult you. Let's take you back right to the basics, and took me back to the basics and took me through it. And the way she explained it to me, it just went, I get that. Whereas I'd spent years beforehand, if it came to numbers, I'll get a calculator and I'll manage that way. So again, I think it's also down to how you teach, isn't it? It's how people are taught. Blimey. Yeah, I think he's gaining knowledge through experience. The other thing is, and again, it's what we're trying to do with the channel is engage with people. Try and lay it out in a way. I sometimes feel a bit self-conscious when I'm trying to demonstrate something that I'm repeating, but that's how I got taught with the military and in farming was repeat, and eventually it sinks in. And sometimes a bit self-conscious that I'm oversimplifying, but I then sort of think to myself, well, try and imagine it's a 10-year-old me watching it. So then I try and gauge it like that, because I think if we can engage youngsters, if I can get two nippers that get pleasure out of this, learn something, and get to enjoy the outdoors in the way that I do and you guys do for the rest of their life, then I've succeeded. That's all I need. Numbers on my channel, yeah, I'll be honest with you. Of course I'd like it. I'd love to have it. Yeah. I'd have to be like something like Demolition Ranch, millions plus subscribers and followers. What a wonderful thing that would be. The knowledge that you are entertaining and all those people are getting pleasure out of what you're doing. Yeah, fantastic. But I'm happy with how my channel's going. I mean, 500 subscriber giveaway. I got the bit sitting there waiting to go. And yeah, the subscriber counts, it's slowed down. I think that's probably me. I can't get my head around doing thumbnails. I keep trying. I can't figure out how to compress the thumbnails down so that YouTube will accept it as a thumbnail. Every time I try and upload a thumbnail, it's too big. It's too big. So I think I'm going to have to go away and speak to somebody that knows what they're talking about and say, right, explain this to me in cardboard box terms. This is one side, that's the other side, that's the top, that's the bottom, so that I get it. The other thing is, it's they keep on about the algorithm, and I try and look into that. I can't get my head around it. So my attitude is I will just keep making content. I will endeavour, and they're not all going to be perfect, but I'll endeavour to make every single one as entertaining and as informative as I can. Yeah, Lee, you're right. They're taught stuff to a higher standard than we were. I mean, I did a lot of my time at weekends when I was on duty. We would have, on the camp that I was on, it would be cadets. We would then obviously go and assist them. One of the jobs that I had was I'd run a DCCT, the old dismounted close combat trainer. So basically like the old SAT range, computerized systems, screens, SAEs, and we get the cadets in. Thoroughly enjoyed it, and met hundreds and hundreds of kids that I'm always hearing, oh, they don't go outdoors, they don't do anything. I met hundreds of kids that did. I met loads of recruits in my job that were as game on as I ever was as a kid. Generationally, I don't think it changes. I think what does change is these days the system is set up and removes the ability for them to be kids. It literally is so focused on an early age on achieving a good education and getting scores and qualifications that they're not given that chance to just be kids. Yeah, make it accessible to all. Just being outdoors is good for your health, practically your mental health. Yeah. Forest bathing. Just we've all done it. It's just been out there, and again, it's getting in contact. I said it on one of my earlier videos. Getting in contact with your inner kid, allowing yourself to laugh, allowing you at simple pleasures. Right, 57. I want to be a bit careful if I'm going to get on a rope swing. Yeah, because my bones ain't going to heal quite so quickly when I come a perler. All right, I have to know my limitations. But there's nothing to stop me being a kid. It's simple pleasure, a wonderment in nature, the simple pleasure of just having fun. And my fun for me as a kid was getting off out with the air rifle, and when I got to 13, getting off out with the 410. It was building camps. It was even bailing. One of the most hateful jobs when I was a nipper. You know, walking along behind a tractor, throwing up bales, and these were the old square bales with baling twine. So you picked it up with your two hands and threw it up, right, to the guy that was on the trailer, and he stacked it. And you would spend all day long walking up and down a field, picking up one bale at a time, throwing it up. And at the age of 13, being treated as an adult by the men that were doing the job as one of them, because their attitude was, if you could keep up and you could put in and you could do the work, they would treat you fairly. Right? You used to come home and your hands across here from the baling twine would be ripped raw for the first few days, and then you'd build calluses up. And some of those have never gone away. Yeah, Sam, it's going to happen. Sooner or later, somebody's going to hack mine. They're going to wreck it. Mate, don't let the people destroy your dreams. You're good at what you do. I love your videos. Okay. I thoroughly enjoy them. keep it going. Don't let them just kick you down. It's just, but it's the whole thing. Bad people will do bad things. Arseholes, well, excuse my language, but a-holes will be a-holes. Okay, now don't let them beat you down. Yeah, and we all. We've got to hang on to that. The other thing I'll point out, I think the word's an epiphany. You know, you suddenly go a realization. Bugger. I lost my dad 2 years ago during COVID. Anyhow, I lost my dad, and I was a member of a motorcycle club. Not one of the big clubs. It was just a family-oriented motorcycle club, and it's one of my passions. I love my old bikes. Grew up in the 70s, saw Easy Rider, wanted that for me, and I went to the funeral, and I hadn't had a lot of contact with my dad over the years, or the later years. I've got 3 brothers, and they stayed in contact. And so at the funeral, I met one of my school friends, and he was a dear school friend. He was actually a year or 2 below me. He was my younger brother's best mate, and became my mate. And I bumped into him, and he's had a rough time of it. But I looked at him and thought, he looks so old. And I looked at my brothers, and they're all younger than me. And I thought, you're all looking old, lads. And they were probably looking at me thinking, yeah, you're looking long in your tooth and all, you old get. But the funny thing is, they also acted old. They become old men. They're quite happy to sit at home, drink a pint of Guinness, moan about the state of the world. And so I thought, do you know what? That's not going to be me. I'm just going to carry on enjoying myself. I know my physical limitations. I accept those, but I'm going to still enjoy it. And that keeps me young. It's the old saying, is it stay young at heart. Yeah. Yeah, Sam, I'm selling my beloved bike in another month. I'll put a little bit on the video purely because I think it's going to be, I think it's the end of my riding days. I'm no longer with the club. Politics and dramas just couldn't be doing with it, so I walked away. And I spent last year building a bike, enjoyed it through the summer, and I realised I'm not a winter rider anymore. It's just not for me. So that bike will get sold in the next few months. So there will be a video on here, because at one point I was even considering doing the channel as Biker Bushcraft. Then I realised you couldn't get that much kit on there. It'd probably be quite boring. But I'm yeah, that will be going later this year. But I'm gonna, mate, I am sorry. Drunk drivers. So much to answer for. Oh, mate. Yeah. And as I say to people, every time you feel down, you only got to look around the world and realise there's people worse off than you. Guys, to both of you, and you know who you are, and you can all probably see this, but yeah, mate, my heart's go out to you. That's tough. And drink driving, that's something I've always been anti. Very, very anti. I'm here with a beer. In actual fact, that's probably the first alcohol that's touched my lips in 3 or 4 months. I've never been a big drinker, never been able to handle it. I've always been one of those that'll have a drink, wobble, fall over, and that's it. And so we've got an hour and 39 minutes, and I'm that far through it. I probably won't even finish it tonight, to be honest with you. Well, let's lift this up. Let's lift this up. Where do you guys want to be? If I could put you anywhere on the planet now, like that, you got 30 seconds, where would you want to be? Awesome. Awesome, Lee. Fair play, Sam. I can understand that. Phil, Australia, Gibraltar. Nice. New Zealand. In hospital with a new heart. Ian, thoughts go out to you, mate. I fall over too easily, that's the trouble. So we got 2 votes for Australia. I knew that would happen. Yeah, yeah. Australia, wonderful, wonderful continent. The only trouble for me is I have a innate fear of visiting any country where I'm going to be too terrified to sit on the toilet. I don't mind visiting Australia as long as I've got a stainless steel toilet seat and a flamethrower. Yeah, I can understand that, Sam. France, yeah, love France. Beautiful place. UK, yeah, we all want to leave the UK. And it's funny. And we're not going to get political. We're not going to go into that route, but there seems to be millions that want to come here. Yeah, it's funny how it goes, isn't it? Well, I'll be honest with you. So, yeah, too many bitey, stingy, nasty things. Yeah, the only snake in the world that is known to pursue human beings when it decides it's had enough of you is Australia. That's the king brown snake. Tracy would like USA. Yes, I know, Tracy. And I know exactly where you would like to be in the US right this minute. But I think they've got about 4 foot of snow, and you're only 4 foot. So we just see the top of your head moving through it. Sorry, sweetheart. That's a beer talking. Well, I tell you what, I'm like a lot of Brits. I'm like a lot of Brits. No, I don't have experience of France, or didn't have experience of France, and I'd only ever sort of seen Paris, and I didn't enjoy Paris that much. I found it was like London. I'm not a town person, so it put me off. And then I visited. Oh, blimey! Do you know? You know, it goes straight to your head. Straight ahead. Went over to the D-Day beaches, went and toured that part of France, and I thoroughly loved it. Yeah, most beautiful place. Yeah, Norway, loved Norway. Absolutely stunning country. Fantastic, expensive, but what a place. Got a very good friend. In fact, actually, we're hoping not next year, but the year after, to do a trip, me and my son, and it will come up on the channel as well because we've already spoken about it. So we're going to be leaving the UK. We'll be going to the Nuremberg Ring. My son's a big car nut, so we're going to Nuremberg Ring along with 3 of his friends. One of his best friends, Christian, is driving down all the way driving down from Norway to Nuremberg Ring. We're all meeting up there, and then we're leaving Germany and we're going up to Norway to go ice racing. I'm not so much of a car nut. I'm there for the journey, basically a bit of backup, a bit of first aid in an emergency, and to be dad, really, I suppose. But yeah, thoroughly enjoyed. So looking forward to that. Yeah, Tavistock's nice. I'm a West Country lover myself. I love the West Country. Um, Wales brings back too many nightmares, and I love Scotland, especially on the west coast. Absolutely stunning. Yeah, I've been up around Ardenmark and then that Isle of Skye, absolutely fantastic. In fact, the Isle of Skye, several years back, I went up with the wife in it was in late October, and my youngest son, and we were staying at a little cottage we rented at a place called Staffing, and we'd just gone to bed, and it was yeah, just laying there. And the wife said, "I'm too hot." And I said, "Well, open the curtains, open the window. There's nobody round for miles. Just open the curtains, open the window, cool the bedroom down." Because again, I don't like to sleep in heat. And she threw back the curtains, and there was the Northern Lights, and it ended up with my wife and her nightie, and me and my son both stood there in our boxes in the front garden, just gazing. And you know what? You see something like that, and you say to yourself, "Why the hell didn't I run indoors, grab my camera, and film it?" No, it's just I was too frightened it would go away. You know, it's absolutely astounding. Yeah, never been to Shetland. Never been to Shetland. Had the offer to um, work on an island off the west coast, which was part of a bombing range. Back when the boys were, they're in the 30s now, they must be about 14, 15. And the offer was for me, my wife, and my boys to be relocated by the MOD to this island. And initially it sounded fantastic because it literally consisted of a house, a jetty, a boat, and basically everything was either shipped to you or shipped out from you, and it would have been homeschooling via radio for the boys. And initially, it was like, yeah, get some goats, get some chickens, self-sufficient. That'd be great. But realistically, when I looked at it, I looked at my sons and I'm like, how can you take them to that environment at that age and then remove them from all social interaction with their friends and other kids? So yeah, it didn't come. That was a job for an older guy. Yeah. God dear. Well, guys, I don't know. Have you all had enough? Do you want to keep going, listening to this old fart waffling and reading your comments? Always off food. Do you know what? You're right, Lee. I've the poorest people I've met on this planet, the people with the least are always the one to offer the most. Simple fact. Yeah. You will find the people with nothing will share their last meal with you. The people with everything usually have a big gate to their community and don't want you anywhere near it. Those people with the big gated community will always tell you how good they are. Yeah. Although sometimes having the food from very, very poor people in strange and wild countries can be a bit unnerving. Yeah. There's some countries you really don't want to drink the beer. Yeah. It's hey, I don't mind. I don't mind, guys. Waterlooville. I know Waterlooville. My younger brother used to live in Waterlooville. I believe he's moved to Winchester now. And that's not too far from us. So, Dirty Faces, you're coming up for the bush camp, 6th and 7th of May, up at our woods. You're more than welcome. And again, the offer is out to any of you guys out there. Hit me up on the email address, which is, and I'll say it again, just in case anybody's come on now and hasn't got it, my email address, and it's my personal email address, All right, and it gives you a bit of a hint towards my character as well, because I am a, and we don't go into that path, but I am a person that follows a certain path. Is Druid Mitch, DRUIDMITCH at gmail.com. There's many things I could teach you, Phil. Many things. Not all of them you really want to know. Hey guys, I'm more than happy. My attitude to it was, I'm here. I got to thank you all. This has been an awesome social evening for me. I don't go to pubs. I spent too long working as a doorman in nightclubs and pubs to earn a bit of extra cash at weekends to be able to relax in a pub and club environment, which is a shame. I've always sort of got, every time I walk in, I go into doorman mode, and it's just the way it is. Just seen too many arseholes over the, okay, not swearing, stop that. Bad people over the years, right? Or drunk people, or people incapable of controlling their emotional state. And so I tend not to relax in that environment. But this has been brilliant tonight. I've sat here. I'm actually probably going to finish the beer. Enjoyed my beer. I've had a cigar. And for those of you, the non-smokers or non-drinkers, I hope I haven't caused you any offence. However, that's my little sinful pleasures. Or the cigar is more than anything. Yeah, right. I'll tell you what, Lee. Every Sunday night, 7 o'clock. Is that, in fact, guys, let me know. Is Sunday night, 7 o'clock good for you? Or is there another time when it's good for you? All right, and we'll go with a majority vote. And again, it's a community thing, right? You're all part of the same community, right? Be here for one another. Look after one another. Share jokes, comments, ideas. You know, we try not to talk about the issues of the day because we're getting it rammed down our throat by the news and the media every day. So it's all round to Ray's. Right. All round to yours. You get the beers in. Yeah. Excellent. Hey. That's not a problem, Sam. Sam, that is not a problem. Okay. You're all right. Everybody's different. Okay. Everybody's different. We all deal with this life and the pressures and the that's put on us in this life in different ways. Okay. We all have our little problems and our issues. Okay. Mine is, as you can see, can't trim my moustache properly. Always had it one side lower than the other, but hey, that's nothing major. But we try and get on. Support one another. Sam, you're a good man. Love your videos. Keep them coming. All right. You know, we all enjoy them. In fact, any of you guys that have not seen him yet, Sam's Bushcraft Camping and Survival. Got my recommendation. All right. Hit him up. Give him some comments. Give him some likes. Subscribe to him. Yeah. It's what we do. And I ask all of you to do the same thing. If you get a chance to share my channel, Sam's channel, and the other channels, but especially my channel, please share it. Tell your friends. Tell them there is this lunatic out there. Yeah. Yeah. Well, what we do, Sam, we'll keep it bushcraft, survival, prepping, orientated, but we also make it. We'll also make it friendly, right? It's a community thing. If you want to come in one day and you know have a chat about a particular subject, we'll go for it. That's what it's all about. It's about sharing. It's a mates thing. That's what mates do. Sit and listen to one another, have a laugh and a giggle. And survival is mindset. Okay. So 3 times, and I'm not going back to the will, 3 times in my life I've been close to death. Each one of those has been in an incident. One I've talked about in the past. The other two I keep very much to myself because I do suffer with a bit of I get flashbacks from one of them. Okay. The situations that we get thrown at us in life can affect us quite severely. They can come back to haunt us. Simple things that happened in our childhood or in our early years can come back to haunt us in our old age. It can affect you any time with no warning, no tip, and a lot of the times the only way we have to deal with it is to keep it in ourselves. Now, not everybody wants to share, not everybody wants to open up to people, not everybody wants to go to therapy. 99% of us don't want to take drugs to treat these things. Okay. But what I've discovered is nature, bushcraft, survival, getting outside into the open air, getting back into the environment that the original human being belongs in, right, actually helps us to open up almost like a primitive self. You're almost getting back to the wild animal, the creature that you originally were before civilization. That, you know, when your priorities get shrunk, all the crap in life gets pushed out the way, and it gets shrunk down to that fine line of getting through that cold night, or getting through that day, finding that water, getting that food. That's the way to go. And John, there, since leaving the forces, it's funny, isn't it? When you're in and you're focused, it's not so bad. When you get out, just I have some very good friends that really suffer quite badly. I'm quite lucky. My PTSD is linked to, well, two things, but again, I deal with it, and I've found my way of dealing with it. All right. And one of the things I would say to people, share it. Yeah, share it. It's don't let it eat you up, because it will. It's a terrible, terrible illness. But getting outside, lighting a fire. Do you know what? There is nothing more satisfying than sitting around a campfire. It's just simple. Yeah, exactly that, Sam. Exactly that, Sam. You know, it's getting back to the basics. You're literally taking away all the outside pollution that's thrown at your brain, bending it away, and getting down to the basics of survival. And you know, you sit there and you think, that squirrel doesn't really worry about what's happening 20 minutes from now. He's only interested in this moment. And that's the thing we sometimes forget, and society doesn't like to think of. We are an animal. We're a natural animal. We've evolved to this state. Our brain is incredibly fast, and therefore we have learned to create and produce and so on and so on. But at our basic core, we're an animal with animal instincts and animal needs. Right? So shelter, fire, warmth, food, protection, love, affection, simple things. Everything else is just pollution, and it builds up on us. Yeah, good campfire, just sitting and watching the flames go around. And yeah, that's an ancient thing, isn't it? You think how many thousands of years as the only time a man or woman has felt safe and secure is once that fire's lit. That knowledge of, we're going to make it through the night, we're safe from the predators, we're going to be warm. Yeah. And I'm a great believer in something they call genetic memory. You can look it up. And that is the thought that you can pass on memories and instincts. They think it's where a lot of phobias come from, the genetic memory. And I think fire is one of those. It's why so many people are happy and drawn to something that really, when you think about it, it's pretty dangerous, but yeah, we'll get drawn to it. It's comfortable. All right, guys. Well, that's been 2 hours. And I think for our first one, I've thoroughly enjoyed it. So, guys, have a wonderful week wherever you are. It's 1900 hours next Sunday. I'll be here. You're more than welcome to join me. Have a think through this week. Thank you so very much to all of you for your company. And I really mean that. It's been a real pleasure this evening. I've thoroughly enjoyed your company. Let's have some fun. Let's have some giggles. Be safe. Have a great week wherever you are. Enjoy what you're doing. Have your adventures. And as I always like to say, love those you do. Forgive those you don't. May peace and light be upon you all. My friends, have a great time. And I look forward to seeing you all next Sunday. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to sit back here, light a cigar, and give you guys a few minutes just in case you want to put up your goodbyes on the chat. And then I shall quietly shut it down. But thank you so much. It's your encouragement and the pleasure of spending time with you guys keeps me going. That's how I deal with my problems. So, yeah, let's crack it out. It's going to be a good year this year. Let's have some adventures and share our adventures. Sam, be safe. Take care. Be good. All the best, mate. Jim, thank you very much, my friend. You have a really good week. You look after yourself. Rick, mate, see you soon. Take care. Be good. I can't remember where we got through now. Sam, Lee, Rick. Where are we going? Go. Phil, yeah, to you too, mate. Guys, yeah, have fun. Be good. Enjoy yourselves. And I'll just sit here bloody waffling on forever otherwise. Take care. Have a good week, guys. I shall, Sam, I'll take your advice. I'll see about doing that for this video this week. I'll see what I can come up with. So I'll get my main video out then. I'm going to have a go doing another little short one, which is, I'm probably thinking just a simple short live stream on like a Tuesday just to try and push stuff out to people, 5-10 minutes. Then my main video, which I like to get out on like a Thursday or a Friday, and then this on a Sunday, and that breaks my week up quite nicely. Hopefully it works for you guys. Guys, be safe, take care, love to all, have your adventures, be good. See you later. Mickey out. What an awesome evening. I haven't smiled this much in ages. Might invite Funky Prepper on next week. And if you're out there, Funky, watching this, good on you, mate.